Okay. We should be live. I should have everything set up. I'm gonna play Elden Ring for a little bit until, like, it's... Shit. I'm gonna play Elden Ring for a little bit until, like, some people start getting in. Cause... Okay. I wanna turn this shit way down. And, yeah. So... I am, like, right on the Godfrey boss fight, I think. And I've been stuck on this motherfucker for, like, the last day or so. And it is pain. You guys are about to see how fucking shit at this game I am. Yeah. Okay. So what videos are we watching tonight? We're watching the one... I know we're watching the one Ben Shapiro Last of Us video. We might be watching Geeks and Gamers' Last of Us video. And then we're probably gonna look at some stuff around, like, the Hi-Fi Rush and Forespoken shit. I almost got Forspoken because it seemed like a really fun game to play, like, tripping balls from how, like, dumb the dialogue was. But I am not paying $70 for a game, and it hasn't gotten cracked yet. So shit. Okay. OMG Ben S. I hate that guy so much. Oh yeah, Ben Shapiro's fucking crazy. I haven't even seen his video yet. Oh yeah, and then we're also probably gonna check out Harmon Smith's Last of Us video that he just made. So, I found out that Todd Howard could be a secret furry. He kind of looks like it, honestly. People with curly hair have, like... It's always the people with the curly hair. I don't know. Oh? I spoke too soon. Wait, so how'd you find out that Todd Howard... Fuck. How'd you find out that Todd Howard could be a furry? Do Harmon Smith first. I need my Harmon salt first. Okay. Well, we'll do that. I just want to throw myself at this boss a couple more times. So in Morrowind, in the game files, there is a cell labeled Todd test, and in the cell there is a naked Kidjat anthro cat person named Pretty Kitty. Okay. That's so fucking random, but it's, like, fucking hilarious. I need to play New Vegas. I see all these people. I see all these people sinking, like, hundreds of hours into New Vegas and, like, how free that game is, but I've only played, like, 2 hours of it. It's just because the shooting controls are, like, really not good. I'm excited for Starfield, though. I'm really hoping Starfield's good. God damn it. I just beaten Dead Space and now playing the new game Post Mode right now? Oh, that's cool. I need to get Dead Space soon. I have a list of, like, all the games I need to get right now, which is Resident Evil 4 remake, Last of Us remake, what's it called? Dead Space, Breath of the Wild 2, what else? Oh, Hogwarts Legacy when that comes out. Hogwarts Legacy looks so cool. The first half of this year is so packed with games, and then like the rest of the year is just like nothing. Dude is so... He does so much damage, and it's like... And he moves so fast. Anyone getting Hogwarts Legacy? I want to get it. One of my friends pre-ordered it, and it looks really cool. Okay. Motherfucker. I am... Shit! It's really fucking good. I was playing halfway through the game with the lights on, and it still scared the shit out of me. Really? Because I played like part of the original Dead Space, and that shit was not scary at all. I played like the first hour and a half, I think, of that. I mean, it was fun. Like, I love Resident Evil 4. That's like... Resident Evil 4 is like probably my third favorite Resident Evil game, I'd guess. And, and like Dead Space, like everybody says it, but like Dead Space is exactly Resident Evil 4, but like in space, which is really cool. Fuck. Shit. Stop comboing. I think the furthest I've gotten this guy down to is like a third of his health. Fuck. Fuck! I hate Synthetic Man video on The Last of Us Episode 3. Good response to him. Thank you. Surprisingly, the boss after this was easier to me. It was? Oh, I don't know. Oh, trust me, the remake, they upped the horror by 1,000. Yeah, I need to get the remake. The Resident Evil 4 remake looks so good. The more footage I see of that, the more excited I get for it. Because of like how insanely realistic the gameplay looks in that shit. And like it looks so much more faster. It looks like what Village's gameplay should have been, I guess. And I am so fucking excited for that shit. Like the new, the GameSpot stuff they've been showing the last week or so. That shit looks so good. And then obviously Tears of the Kingdom, which like they had me sold on that game from the start, from it being a fucking sequel to Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild is like my favorite game ever. But yeah, hopefully I'll find like something to make tonight. If worse comes, I need to have something for Monday. Cause I was DMing Alex for how to bring my channel back from the dead, and he was telling me like if you just keep like making content, if you just keep like a consistent schedule of content, like you keep uploading a video at the same time every week, you'll get a lot more views, I guess. Because like the algorithm likes consistency or something like that, which, as you guys can probably tell, I have not been consistent whatsoever. Fuck. I'm just glad Ashley seems like less of a nuisance in the remake. She actually climbs ladders and moves out of your way. Yeah. Even still though, in the original, Ashley really wasn't that much of a nuisance to me. She was only like a really big nuisance like the first time through. But like, I don't know. I haven't seen her like shooting at all, which is kind of disappointing. But at the same time, like I don't really have that big of a problem with it in the original. So it's like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm glad that they're actually staying like really faithful to the game too. Like they're recreating exact like sets. Because that was the thing I was worried about from the RE3 remake, how they changed like how RE3 remake is like basically a completely different game from the original. But like it seems like they're staying like fairly faithful, and they're gonna have like chapters and shit. I saw some shit where they were saying they were gonna have side quests, which that seems fucking awesome. And like I really hope they do the Dead Space remake treatment, because I was watching some videos in the Dead Space remake, how they made the entire Ishimura ship or whatever like completely explorable, instead of like it just being separated by chapters and like you could go through them. But yeah. How are we enjoying my overhyped 2-year exclusive Forespoken Game of the Year material? Hell yeah. Fucking I fight dragons and shit. Same, I need to make more videos, but I can't find the drive to make a video unless it's Last of Us related or a rant. Yeah. Hello, Sir Josh Oon of the Tarnished Kind. I had to. You're playing Elden Ring? Yeah. No, I am dog shit. I don't know how many times I've died to this boss already. I've probably been streaming for like a half hour. And I think I need to like grind some more for shit. But I don't want to upgrade my weapon because I spent like so much shit trying to upgrade this one. And it's actually like solid. But I really need more health. Or like more resistance to his attacks. Cause I am so shit at this. And this is just embarrassing. Do you guys know good places to go to get like good shit in this? I've been playing the Dead Space remake. I'm nearly 5 hours in and I'm halfway through the game already. I need to get it soon. But again, I'm waiting to get a paycheck from YouTube until I buy any new games. So and also, I'm not sure if CD Keys has any sales on it. Shit! And also, I've got like 30 other games that I need to finish. I finally finished Doom 2016 again yesterday. And I gotta finish Horizon again. I've been making through my backlog on my Steam Deck, and I finished Red Dead 2 for the first time after like having that game for 4 years. I haven't beaten Half-Hour Rush, but so far it's Game of the Year material. I mean, Christ sakes, it has 9 Inch Nails and the Prodigy in it. It has 9 Inch Nails in it? That's so fucking cool. What the hell? I didn't even know that game had copyrighted music in it. That's so fucking cool, though. I need to try that. I need to re-get Game Pass soon. Because I also want to play Persona 3 Portable. But I'm probably going to wait till like Starfield or Redfall comes out to... No, Hi-Fi's art style looks really cool. Like, I love the cel-shaded, like, old-school GameCube shit. Like how Wind Waker looks. I still think Wind Waker is, like, the second best looking Zelda game. Or no, Wind Waker is probably the best looking Zelda game. Yeah, I think Wind Waker's, like, definitely... Because Breath of the Wild's art style is kind of bland, honestly. It's kind of cool, but like, I don't know. The style of it seems like generic fantasy game number 236. I can't believe Hi-Fi Rush, a game that had no marketing, no trailer, and got shadow dropped out of nowhere, already became a massive hit. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. No, it looks really cool, though. No, but that's just so fucking funny that it overshadowed Forespoken. I want to play Forespoken though. Like, I just want to try like the first hour or so of it and just see how shit it is. Like how I did with Days Gone. Fuck. I'm gonna do a stream. Well, when I find a way to try Forespoken, I'm gonna do a stream where I'll get like high as shit before it and play Forespoken for you guys. And it's just gonna be me laughing my ass off at the dog shit dialogue. Fuck. Have you beat Radahan yet? Is Radahan the fox? I'm here for that beat. Wait, shit. I'm here for that beat, agency daddy. I'm gonna bust your pussy wild, no sus. How are you doing? I'm doing solid. Dead Space Remake is damn good. It's one of the few current gen releases it's actually worth $70. The Dead Space Remake is the go-to remake. It reminds me of the RE1 remake, extremely faithful while improving on the source material. I also love how much agency Isaac has. He's his own character. You hear after Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo might have no big gamers for 2023. I mean, they didn't. What did they have last year? They had Splatoon 3, and they had Pokemon. They had the other They had the Legends Arceus or whatever, Arceus or whatever the fuck it's called, and then they had Kirby, and that was it. But then again, yeah, that's fair. They don't really have anything other than Tears of the Kingdom this year. But Tears of the Kingdom looks so good. So, I don't know. I've been waiting for that game for so fucking long. They could also announce Metroid Prime 4 is coming out in like December of this year. Cause like what? It's been 4 years since they rebooted it and like switched it to what's the name? So that game should be like about due by now. I don't know what the fuck's up. I don't know what the fuck up has been. What the fuck has been up with Metroid Prime 4? Fuck. You 18 yet? Almost in July. Yeah, already Forspoken is dead, and I've forgotten that game killed it was, and the game that killed it was Hi-Fi Rush. Not gonna lie, I thought Dead Space was gonna kill it, but was I wrong? I will give the actress for Frey some from Forspoken credit. When asked about the reception of the game, she said it's an incredible role for the game, but she does respect other opinions on it. Damn. Yeah, no, I'd say it's fair to give her credit for that. I think Prime 4 and Pikmin 4 might be next console bound if we don't hear about them this year. Yeah, that's another thing. When the hell is Nintendo gonna announce their next console? Shit. Fuck. We almost got him halfway down. Shit. No. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. Oh, I'm still up. I'm still up. Come back, come back, come back. Fuck. I'm gonna cry. Nintendo is Pikmin 4 this year, guys. It's more niche and but its fan base is long established for Nintendo at this point. And the last set checked, Pikmin 4 is this year. Yeah, didn't Pikmin 4 have like a trailer at the end of last year? Or something? We ain't expecting Nintendo's next console until 2025 or 2026, I'm calling it. I'd guess 2024. Because, like, the time in between the Wii U and the Switch was, like, what, 6 years? No, it wasn't even 6 years. It was 4 years, right? Because the Wii U fucking flopped. 4 or 5... Yeah, it was, like, 5 years. Because Wii U came out in 2012, I think, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. I'm quitting out of this because I am embarrassing myself. Okay. So. What else? I don't know why Elden Ring doesn't want to close sometimes. Anyways, YouTube. I added some shit to my watch later list. Where is it? He is streaming right now. Should we join it and fuck with them? Or I don't have enough people. I don't have enough people and fuck with him. So yeah, we're just gonna.
The Dragon. Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of blackcatbooks.org, author of I the Dragon Cruel.
Oh, fix your mic. Oh my god. Turn the mic's like gain down for like a little bit. Jesus Christ. Then he's got his fucking dad bod. Where's the one video of him showing off his... I love this. I love this.
This is Cody Lee of blackcatbooks.org, and this is my body. I'm working...
That's my favorite video from Harmon. What else is this? Iwata Words of Wisdom. Iwata asks, Elden Ring is buggy and broken. 13-mile bike ride. 3-hour bike ride. Out riding on my bike. Bayonetta 3 is Game of the Year material. Sonic Adventure 2 is... Lately I've been reading Agatha Christie. Yoshi's Woolly World is the gem. Why I'm reading Watership Down. Star Fox 64 is the best ever. Pokemon Scarlet is great. PC gaming is inferior. Anti-worker claims that she can't buy groceries on a $120,000 salary. Super Mario Sunshine finished River City Girls 2. His face in the picture too, he looks like he's fucking busting a nut. Oh my god. Super Mario Bros. Is my new favorite thing. Arla's Fire Emblem Engage review is a joke. Fire Emblem Engage fools. Okay, whatever, we're going back to
Rabbit
this.
Hole, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. Well, that's it.
Hasn't he been working on Jaw of the Dragon for like the last like 2 fucking years? Right? Because I swear to God, I heard that name like a while ago. But I don't know.
We're done. That's the end. Go home. It's over. The Last of Us, the TV show, has kind of exposed itself as woke trash. It is...
This is the thing. Again, everybody fucking associates like, oh yeah, there's gay people, this is woke. Like, what? I don't know how fucking having people... Like, literally just having people in something identifies as woke. Like, I was doing a rant on this in my Discord server yesterday, I think. But, like, I feel the same way about Last of Us 2. I really don't think Last of Us 2 is woke. Like, it's got some, like, stupid messages it's got some really dumb moments, like how Joel acts like really out of character in the opening, and and then all like the countless plot contrivances in that game. But like I don't think it's woke. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But like even with the bigot sandwiches thing, I've defended the bigot sandwiches thing since the game fucking came out. Cause I think that the bigot sandwiches really like her like making fun of Seth or whatever after he was trying to apologize to her was like was like setting up her arc for the game of like how she isn't able to forgive people that easily. And then they do it again in the second flashback. Velma's woke trash. I haven't even seen Velma yet, but I've seen like some fairly good. There was this video that I saw yesterday that it was like Velma isn't woke. It's just bad, and no, they were making like some fairly good arguments. I don't know where it was. It was like somewhere back here. Yeah, this one. Grayson's projects or whatever the fuck. That was actually a really good video on Velma. That was like probably the best one that I saw. But yeah. Anyways, we're going.
Subversive. It is nonsense. It is not following the game's original script.
Yes, I mean it doesn't have to follow the game's original script beat for beat. I don't know why people are like expecting that from the game. Like this is a fucking like adaptation. It should be following the game's original script as like much as a remake or something. Like if people have such a huge problem with the game like straying from its source material so much, I don't know how the fuck people like the Resident Evil 2 remake or shit like that. Cause I don't know. It's just fucking embarrassing.
At all, taking away the only real benefit the fanboys were claiming, or rather, I don't think there are fanboys for The Last of Us anymore.
What was the benefit that they were claiming? Because the gameplay in the first Last of Us was not good. It was like the most basic shit. In the second game, I think it's a lot better. Like the second gameplay, the second game's gameplay is so much better because the encounters are so much more open. And I fucking love the second game. Like, the gameplay aspect of it. But, yeah.
I think it is, like, entirely shills. Because everyone I see praising this show is either, like, a YouTuber, like, a Twitter user, or some kind of...
A Twitter user, yeah. So some random dude on Twitter who's getting paid, who's, like, 2 followers, who's getting paid for, like, shilling the show, definitely.
Like, yeah, paid off... like advocate for mass media, you know, like
I wish I was paid off. Damn, I want to see those all the other episodes, like how some of the other YouTubers got like early access to the rest of the show. Like, goddamn, I wish I was fucking paid off.
He is like the big.
Plus, I also need drug money. So yeah, Naughty Dog, if you're watching, come fucking pay me.
The big critic user site that people are using to cite how positively this show is being received. It's one of the most critically acclaimed shows of all time.
I mean, it's solid, but, like, I don't think it's fucking perfect or anything. Like, it's definitely got some flaws. I was listing all those fucking flaws in the 3rd episode at the beginning of the last video. How, like, Bill is just fucking standing out, standing out, like, not even behind cover while he's being fucking raided. And then, and fucking what else? They never get attacked for like over the span of like 20 years aside from like one time, which like from how massive his like little area seems to be. If it really is like an entire town, like that's the biggest amount of bullshit I've ever heard. Cuz like you remember in the first Last of Us when they were like attacking Jackson and shit, and like you literally could not move anywhere without like fucking raiders attacking Jackson, and then all the times that like they only stopped because like Jackson became like essentially its like own city and shit. So saying Velma is bad is insulting to bad entertainment. Velma is an abortion. Yeah.
After 2 episodes. 1 episode, actually. Because I heard a lot of people saying it had, like, the highest score ever after, like, a single episode, which is hilarious to me. And now, like, 3 episodes in, I don't know. It really does feel like this show has no momentum behind it. You know, it really does feel like this is something...
Why is his left eye closed? Is that his left eye or is that his right? I think no, it's his right. Why is his right eye just like completely closed? You get like the shit beat out. Is that a Sailor Moon shirt too? I think it is. I'm not sure, but there's this one weird ass motherfucker in my physics class last semester who would wear like a Sailor Moon hat and he had like a Sailor Moon backpack, and he was so fucking weird. I had to work on a physics project with him. And he would wear that shit everywhere. He had like he had fake tattoos. Oh, it's One Piece? I don't even know. I couldn't tell if it was One Piece or Sailor Moon. But yeah. But yeah, so he had like a fucking, he would wear like his fucking Sailor Moon hat, and he had a backpack, and he had a phone case. And I had to work on a project with him, and he was like so weird. I don't know how else to describe it. But like he wouldn't talk, he would be like falling asleep while I was doing all the fucking work. And yeah.
That Sony is putting a ton of money...
Oh yeah, and I'd be playing music, and he'd go like, turn down the music, it's too loud, when I'd have it at like halfway up on my phone. And I'm like, okay, bro.
Behind in order to like promote and like shill it and pretend that it's a massive success, only for it in the long run to not really bring in any new subscribers or viewers at all. It reminds me a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn, actually. If you remember Horizon Zero Dawn, like this was a game that we were told was like sold 20 million units, that was like just as good. If not,
I mean, to be fair, didn't they like give away Horizon for free at one point in like 2020? Back during like COVID and shit? So, any man wearing a Sailor Moon shirt is on a list. No, you're not wrong.
Better as Breath of the Wild, and it was like...
Okay, Horizon is not better than Breath of the Wild. I don't know who the fuck is saying Horizon is better than Breath of the Wild. Zero Dawn, comparing Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild is like comparing Forbidden West and Elden Ring. It's like literally no contest. I don't know where the fuck you're getting that.
Like a big phenomenon for like a year. Like there were people pushing it for like to win Game of the Year. What happened?
Who the fuck was pushing Horizon Zero Dawn to win Game of the Year over Breath of the Wild aside from like fucking PlayStation fanboys or something? Horizon is meh. I 100% agree with that. I think the gameplay of it is really fun, but it's nothing compared to Breath of the Wild. I think the story of it is like all over the place. There's some really good elements in Zero Dawn, and there's some really bad elements in Zero Dawn. Like again, the whole issue that I have with Aloy's character is like the biggest one for me probably. But like the world building of Zero Dawn is really good. But then what else? Forbidden West story is just shit because it doesn't even have anything to do with like the really good world building from Zero Dawn. And yeah, and they didn't decide to develop Aloy's character at all, which that's what I was hoping they were gonna do, but they didn't. So hopefully in the third game or in the VR game or whatever, they're gonna give her something. I don't know. Femtanga, hi Josh, what's up?
You know, the game was completely forgotten after 2017, and like once the sequel comes out last year, it gets completely buried.
Yeah, because it came out the same fucking week as Elden Ring, just like the first game came out the same week as Breath of the Wild.
By a number of better titles that year. Like not a single person voted for Horizon Forbidden West to be the Game of the Year.
No, that's fair though.
Like even the most hardcore Sony fanboy shills were pushing for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, no, because God of War is better. Like, I don't know who the fuck was trying to say Forbidden West was better than Ragnarok.
That game had the problem of like just being terrible to begin with. Like again, like Ragnarok is a bad game. Okay, there's no getting around that. Like I'm not saying Ragnarok is good or anything. Like I'm not saying God of War is a strong IP at all. But I don't think there's any denying that like God of War as a franchise, as a brand, has stood the test of time far more than Horizon Zero Dawn has.
No shit, because every time they release a Horizon game, they release it in like literally the worst possible time. Like, they could not have chosen a worse week to release Forbidden West. It was like when they tried to release fucking Doom Eternal the same day fucking Animal Crossing came out. Like, Doom Eternal is fucking amazing, and it's like a million times better than Animal Crossing. But, like, it's kind of niche compared to fucking whatever the fuck Nintendo has.
Zero Dawn
So,
never had any momentum. It never had any fans. It never had a player base. But Sony treated it like it was a massive, surefire success right from the get-go. It was going to be their big PS4 open world exclusive. It was going to be...
I mean, that's how they market every single PlayStation exclusive, isn't it? Like, also God of War is over 20 years old at this point. Holy fuck, Armin Smith.
Big thing. What happens? It completely collapses. It is an embarrassment. It is a complete joke. It is one of the defining examples I point to as to how badly PlayStation exclusives have fallen in recent years. You know, like,
I mean, they're just all kind of the same, I guess. They're like a fucking open world Ubisoft knockoff Ubisoft. Not knockoff, but like slightly better Ubisoft open world game with like a usually pretty solid writing, but like other than that, they're just all kind of the same.
Exclusives in general to begin with, but they have been getting pretty...
Didn't Horizon 2 sell over 10 million? Probably. I wouldn't put it past it.
Consistently worse. And now that I have played Horizon Zero Dawn, I put like 6 hours into it. Like, you can't even tell me that like I don't know anything about the game, you know? Like,
yeah, no, I don't think anybody is trying to say Breath of the Wild is worse than Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, that is the stupidest shit I have ever heard. Like, I don't know.
You know, I have put time into Horizon Zero Dawn. I know
Ghost was the best open world PS4 game? Yeah, I agree with that. But even still, Ghost was like, I don't know. Ghost felt like a mix of like it felt like a less like free Metal Gear 5 with swords, I think.
It's not all that impressive. I know it's tedious. It's boring. It has a terrible enemy AI. Legit some of the worst I've seen in any open world game ever.
I don't even notice the enemy AI. I don't know where the fuck he's getting that from, but whatever.
You know, like the Robo Dinosaurs aren't interesting. Like,
they're kind of cool.
Cannot carry an entire game on Robo.
Like the aesthetic of Zero Dawn and Forbidden West is like really cool. I will give those games that. Like, it definitely feels like original, and I like the whole design of like the cauldrons. I think they were the places where like the machines would be made. And again, the world building for it is really cool too. But
about dinosaurs, essentially. And so, like, Horizon is a dead IP. You know, like, all the answers were like, anything anyone wanted to know.
What was that? That sounded like a fucking goblin.
Essentially. And so, like, Horizon is a dead IP. You know, like, all the answers were like,
It sounded like a fucking goblin. Bro. Oh my god.
Anything anyone wanted to know about, like, the setting and the world, like, you know, the secrets behind the mystery of Horizon Zero Dawn, it was revealed in the first game.
Yeah, I know, and that's why the second game was dog shit. Or I wouldn't say it was dog shit, because the gameplay was really good. But, like, everything else was, like, not good, I guess. The music was alright, too, and the graphics. Gameplay, music, and graphics were solid. Everything else was shit. I don't know how else to put it.
West, like, what exactly were they trying to accomplish? Like, what story were they trying to tell?
Horizon has a great setup. Just the main story is meh. I say expand on the world and yeah, exactly. They need to focus on like other shit, like take it out of the U.S. or something. I don't know. Go to fucking, I don't know, fucking Russia or something. And, like, expand on, like, what's going on there.
They...
Just take it out of the fucking U.S. Or, like, anywhere else. But, like, with fucking Aloy. Oh my god, I hate Aloy so much. Like, anyways, okay. We're just continuing this shit.
Again, in a different location with, like, different giant robots? Like, the game just was not Okay, well, this wasn't supposed to be a video about Horizon Zero Dawn, but my point is, you cannot trust what critics or PlayStation says about how well their franchises perform.
No
Like it
shit.
is just very clear to me that products like Horizon Zero Dawn or like The Last of Us don't do as well as Sony claims.
Okay, The Last of Us does really well though. Clearly you could see from how pissed off people got from part 2 coming out, and how pissed off people have gotten from like the stupid shit in the TV series, like how they've like changed a line of dialogue or something, and people have lost their shit over that. You can clearly see how like fucking passionate people get about this series, especially after part 2. Like, if you needed any confirmation that people love that first game, it's part 2 is right there. Because the whole fucking insane controversy surrounding, that's like probably the most like controversial game I've ever seen.
Like right
So
now,
it's
they're
like,
claiming
yeah.
that The Last of Us Part 2 sold like 10 million units, which is absurd considering how badly it bombed when it first came out.
I mean, yeah, but people still buy it. Like, people buy shitty games. Look at Forspoken. Didn't Forspoken actually sell like all right, surprisingly? I don't know.
And how they've been constantly putting it out on sale since then. Like if it
Yeah, no, they put games on sale. Like, PlayStation puts their games on sale pretty fast, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure Last of Us 2 went on sale in like August of that year for like $10 off. Which, like, hot take, I like Last of Us 2 more than the first one. Yeah, that is a hot take. I don't know. I mean, I like the gameplay a lot better, but like the writing on Last of Us 2 is not good. I don't know.
Shit has sold 10 million units. It's because they've been.
I think it's got some really interesting aspects, and I wish they would have expanded on them more. And it could have been better than the first game with like with the ideas they had. It's okay. I'll give them credit because Last of Us 2 is a lot more original than the first game. Did you hear The Last of Us 1 remake got delayed for PC? Are you fucking with me? You're definitely fucking with me. Oh, it did! Shit! Damn it. Why? Okay, whatever. I don't care. It's coming out the week Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out. What is it with PlayStation dropping their shit the day, like the week, like actually really good shit comes out? I don't know. It's just setting them up for failure. But I'm gonna buy both.
Giving it away
Anyway.
through bundles or like selling it on PS Plus, giving it away on PS Plus. Like I don't think there was any actual momentum ever to pick up the Last of Us Part 2. There is no real fan base for that game. Like there's.
I mean, no, there is a. If you go to Twitter and you see the amount of fucking people, like losing their shit over any like minute criticism over that game, like, I don't know.
There's no way it sold 10 million units. It's and I think when it comes.
You hear they're making Monster Hunter World type game in the Horizon world? Okay, yeah, that actually has potential. Like they make a Horizon like RPG, not like how Zero Dawn is, but like an actual RPG. Like how fucking customize your character, tell your own story shit. Like you do that. Like I think that could in the Horizon world, like a Bethesda style RPG in the Horizon world. That could be fucking awesome. Like I want them to make the world for Horizon is so interesting, and they've got so much potential, but they fuck it up with all these dog shit characters that like nobody wants to follow. And
like the HBO
yeah.
series. Well, first of all, Sony's claim is that like this is one of the most watched shows on HBO. That's not true. The actual metric they're going off of is like it's one of their most watched originals.
Yeah, that's like most of their shows on HBO, isn't it? Were they fucking lying? I don't think they were. They said it was one of their most watched originals. Most of their shows on HBO are originals, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, they're like mostly they're originals. I don't know what else. There's a lot of like I don't know who else. I don't know who watches any of the other shows that are like fucking not like originals on like on like streaming services. Cause like all the shows that I watch on streaming services are like the originals. I don't watch any like actual TV shows really. But like really all I've used HBO for was Euphoria and The Last of Us.
And I don't think that list
Oh, and Perks of Being a Wallflower. But like Perks of Being a Wallflower doesn't really count, I guess. I don't know.
is really all that long or relevant.
Yes, I heard 4 million people 4 million more people watched from episode 2 to 3. Yeah, I mean it makes sense. Like yeah, cuz it's like I remember Euphoria blew the fuck up last year during from like episode 4 to 5, I think it was. Like it almost doubled in its fucking in its watch count or whatever.
It's completely it's like Velma. Okay,
that is the stupidest shit I have ever heard. You cannot compare The Last of Us to fucking Velma. I don't know where the fuck you're getting that. Velma fucking. I don't even know where to start with Velma. They changed everything. The Last of Us had like a little more of a focus on like a gay relationship in the game. Than the game did. Which even in the game, they were already like established to be gay. And the entire thing the show's been doing has been like expanding on like what happens in the game. So it's like I don't get where the fucking problems people have are. The only thing I get is how people wish they would have stuck to the source material with the Bill level instead of like going down, or like they wish Ellie and Bill met because their banter was really good, which I 100% agree with. And that's another one of my huge problems with the episode, that like Ellie and Bill never met and they never really showed Joel fucking Joel and Bill's interactions either. But like I think they also did a pretty good substitute for that, but I don't know. Shit.
That's what it's competing against. Like one of the most hated shows ever, from what I can see. And like I think now that we're like 3 episodes in, now that we have a good idea like how they bungled it, how it's not really like the game at all,
how is it not like the game? Oh my god. They have literally I don't get how people are saying like it's not like the game when they've literally recreated scenes beat for beat from the game. Like yeah, there's new stuff and they change stuff, but that's how like any adaptation works. Like I don't know a single adaptation that like has every single thing from like the game or from like the original property in it, or like doesn't take liberties in it. I don't know why the fuck people are getting pissed off over that. They want gays to be applied, not showing. I think Seth has some sandwiches for them. I agree.
Like how Druckmann seems to have like stamped his little paws all over it. Like
Druckmann had his paws stamped over the first game. Anyway, like again, I hate the fucking thing where everybody calls the first Last of Us like some timeless masterpiece, and then they call the second game shit because it has plot contrivances. Do you know how many plot contrivances are in the first Last of Us? It is insane. I don't know where people get that shit from. It's just, I don't know.
Seeing how the changes they've made to the storyline. Okay, first of all, actual fans of
what have they changed in The Last of Us? What like significant thing have they changed aside from they focused on that's like really lost here? Because I am waiting for people to say that, to say like what has been lost from their changes that they've made. Because in the first episode the whole thing was like, oh, they cut out the Robert level or whatever, and I'm like, the Robert level at the beginning of the first Last of Us was like actually dog shit. Who the fuck remembers the Robert level? That was like the most boring level of the entire game. And then the Bill episode, I get why people would be mad that they cut out like the stuff, but I feel like they're gonna replace it with other shit. And what else? Joel and Ellie meeting is a tad different, but it still gets the same point across. I think Joel and Ellie meeting is a lot better, honestly, because in the show, in the game, they were just like kind of thrown upon each other, but in the show, it actually kind of makes sense because they're looking for the battery. So and like she kind of and like they go to the Firefly base where Ellie's being held in. So yeah. They didn't change the core story, they just changed a few background details. Yeah. And like how certain things happen. But like at the same it gets the same point across, if not like the same in the same way, or if not, or if it's not better. So
people who unironically believe The Last of Us Part 1 had the greatest story in all of video games should be upset.
I don't know if it had the greatest story of all video games. I'd have to think. Because there are some really good game stories. Like, Cyberpunk is a really good story. Breath of the Wild is a pretty solid story, despite what people say. I love Breath of the Wild story. Witcher 3, obviously. Red Dead 2. I have to think. What else? I'd say Devil May Cry 3 had a great game story. Yeah, I haven't played Devil May Cry 3. Last of Us is a story about people, not just Joel and Ellie. Yeah. Oh, what else? Uncharted 4 is a pretty solid. Oh, God of War, obviously. I don't know.
At the changes they've made.
Oh yeah, and Persona 5, of course.
Like,
how could I forget
Persona
Persona 5?
Really were well-written, compelling characters. Like, people would be angry that the focus was taken away from them to focus on a couple of filler characters that nobody actually cares about.
Yeah.
However,
Bill was like probably the third standout character from the first Last of Us. It was Bill, Tess, and David that really stood out to me of like the side characters in that game. And like you barely got to know him, and now in the episode they actually like developed his character a lot more, which I really liked. But Spider-Man's story, I don't know. I have issues with it, but I don't know.
The reality is that like nobody actually cares about Joel and Ellie. The reality is that like Joel and Ellie were never.
If people never cared about Joel and Ellie, why were all these people getting pissed off over part 2? This is just embarrassing.
They were never interesting. They were never compelling. The Last of Us was never a particularly well-written, interesting, engaging zombie survival drama. It was just heavily pushed by the gaming establishment. Just like how Uncharted would never replace like Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones as being like the definitive example.
Who is saying Uncharted is gonna fucking replace Indiana Jones? What? Dude, the Sam and Henry part of The Last of Us story makes me cry each time. Yeah, I get that.
A treasure hunting franchise, right? Like,
who is saying Uncharted is gonna replace fucking Indiana Jones? That's like fucking saying Horizon Zero Dawn is gonna replace like what's a really good post-apocalyptic movie that's like I don't know. Fucking I have to think. Like Blade Runner. Like, that's like saying a fucking... that isn't really a good example, but I don't know.
The Last of Us was never really succeeded in anything it set out to do. But
Horizon replacing Far Cry? Yeah, no. Uncharted 5 may release, but not Nathan? Yeah, no. I don't know what they... I feel... I don't really play Uncharted for, like, the story, though. Uncharted 4 was, like, the only Uncharted story that I actually liked, honestly.
Establishment ate it up anyway, because it was the hot new PlayStation game at the time. In fact, I would say the last ever. We're at the point now where, like, The Last of Us is a decade old, and the PlayStation hasn't really put out anything to replace it yet. There's not a single IP that I think like really eclipsed The Last of Us in its initial popularity.
I mean, Ghost of Tsushima was really popular. What other new IPs have they released that were like really good? Ghost of Tsushima is like the only one that comes to mind.
Was like the last gasp of PlayStation's relevancy, I would say, before like, you know, Druckmann took over and like.
But like God of War is essentially a new thing now, from how like different the new games are from the original trilogy.
PlayStation had
So
these massive shifts, and like they started producing content that like nobody actually wanted. Like, The Last of Us was like the last gasp of PlayStation. And
but yeah, The Last of Us was probably the last really big one that they put out.
Last of Us, like the Last of Us console exclusives. Then that's what the title meant.
What? The Last of Us console exclusive? What the fuck? He needs to go back to grammar school.
Along, it was the last relevant PlayStation release. So with that in mind, like thinking about this, like looking at this this show, I don't know how many episodes we have left, but I imagine what's going to happen is, especially after episode 3, is that like the audience that's like tuning into the show out of curiosity are just going to start tuning out. They're going to get bored. They're going to like feel like this show isn't like really going anywhere. It's going to get boring. And then eventually we'll get to like the part 2 storyline. We'll get to
okay, yeah, no, I will admit, if they don't change shit drastically for season 2, it is not going to go well. That's what I'm really worried about. Because they have to change shit drastically. I'm really hoping they go with like the original idea they had for part 2, for like the intro to it, where like Abby joins like Jackson or whatever, and like it kind of establishes how Jackson works, and then she kills Joel. Because that sounds so much better than however the fuck they did it in the game, where Joel just like blindly trusts Abby and gets into the middle of the fucking room, or like the perfect place for her to like fucking shoot him or something.
Like part 1 ends on like some kind of, you know.
They might split part 2 into 2 seasons. What I hope they do is they put all of part 1 into, they put all of like the flashbacks that take place in between part 1 and part 2 into like one season. And then they have that, and they have like, it shows like Ellie and Joel's relationship falling apart. And then season 3 could be part 2. I don't know. That's what I think they should do. But I don't think they're gonna do that.
The ending somehow, like make it even worse, because I think the ending was supposed to come off as like more morally ambiguous than what it actually.
It still is. Like, I don't know how the fuck they answered. I don't know how the fuck people are saying like part 2 answered that Joel's decision at the end was morally ambiguous. No, it wasn't, because like at the end of part 2 he's going like, oh yeah, I would do that all over again, even if it meant that you would fucking hate me. It doesn't matter. I still think it was like the right thing to do in that situation. And I don't know.
Than what it actually did. So like that's probably the reason this show exists, is for like Druckmann to try and pretend the story is like more complex than it really is. So
like I think the thing that pissed people off was they weren't saying Joel's decision at the end wasn't a perfectly great one. Which like I don't know how the fuck him shooting up a hospital is a good decision. Is like a perfectly morally right decision. Like I don't know.
So I expect the series will end, and then we'll get like to The Last of Us Part 2, and I expect.
No, all Part 2 did was like say that yeah, his decision at the end affected people, which like that's what the first game was saying it was gonna do. like
More people like start getting like upset at that, because I expect, considering Druckmann believes that like there's nothing really wrong with The Last of Us Part 2 from a creative perspective. I think
from a creative, okay, I keep saying this, from a creative perspective, Part 2 is really interesting, and like I love the ideas they have, but from an objective standpoint, it is so fucking messy, and I don't know.
1-to-1 adaptation of Part 2 with like no real changes and cuts, and like seeing The Last of Us play out, Part 2 play out in like TV form with like no gameplay sections to, like intersperse like all the issues when it comes to like continuity and like changes and stuff like that. I think more people are going to feel like really understand why The Last of Us Part 2 was a fundamentally terrible sequel. And again, you know, I'm not saying the original Last of Us was good, but I think The Last of Us Part 2 is so terrible it really should never have been made. You know, like there's really nothing they could have possibly done to follow up on The Last of Us. Like the best thing they probably
They could have done
done
some
with that
stuff.
IP was just not make a sequel at all.
It's just they failed miserably with how they fucking did part 2.
But unfortunately, because Naughty Dog is comprised of talentless hacks like Neil Druckmann, they have to leech off of ideas like this. They have to talk about, like, they have to keep...
Joel was never the hero. He was just the main character from an outsider's point of view. Joel was the bad guy. Yeah, no. That's how The Last of Us works, and that's what makes it really interesting. Because, like, anybody... It's, like, all about perspective and shit. And that's what they were showing in part 2. Which, again, I don't really get... I get why people were mad that you had to play as Abby. But, like, I like the whole idea. I like the whole idea. I would just wish they would have tried to make her like a more likable character than they did. And they didn't pull all like the stupid manipulative shit, like how they introduced her fucking saving a zebra and shit. But yeah.
Shows and spin-offs and sequels to this IP that they're just
like did Abby even show remorse for killing Joel in like her sections? I don't remember her doing that. I've been replaying part 2 a little bit and I'm still on like the Ellie sections of the game. But I don't remember Abby like ever having remorse for killing Joel. Like I don't remember anybody having remorse for killing Joel. And then Ellie fucking spares her, which I like Abby. Ellie has become her own worst enemy. Yeah, no, I like that.
running into the
How like Ellie kind of became like the villain of that game. But again, I wish fucking Abby would have had more of like a likable presence. Like if she would have shown resentment for killing Joel and realizing, oh shit, that wasn't worth it. Or like what if fucking Lev was going at his mom for revenge for like abandoning him or whatever. And then he's like going down the same path Abby was going down. And she stops him or whatever because it's like it's not worth it or something. Like how good would that have been? That would have been so much better than what the fuck they did with Lev in the game. Lev was the only side character of that entire game that I liked. Was like all of the side characters in the first game I thought were interesting. Even David. David was such an interesting like villain for how he acted in the game. And it was like, there's this creepy background to the character, but like, you can't exactly tell what. And it's so subtle that, like, I don't know. I fucking love David. David was probably, like, my favorite side character in the first Last of Us.
Wow. They're going to... The Last of Us, I think, is probably going to be the next example of, like, what happened with God of War. Where, like, it gets really high acclaim due to, like, its cinematography and, like, you know... Technically,
how did God of War get high acclaim for its cinematography? What? I mean, it's kind of cool how like the new games are like all one shot, but like I don't really consider that cinematography.
Like impressive, like monster and boss design, but like not so much for its gameplay. And as the series,
I wouldn't even say the monster and boss design in the new God of War games are that good either. Like, it was alright, but it was just, like, the usual.
This continues as people start, like, noticing more and more, like, the plot.
Yo, what's up? I'm baked right now. I fucking wish, man. I have been going... I haven't gotten high in, like, 2 weeks. And, yeah. Good on you, though. Good on you.
And the issues and, like, the lack of, like...
I was supposed to do shit tonight, but then my friend fucking bailed out on me. Because he was being a bitch.
Real resolution to, like, any kind of real plot, overarching plot, like, more and more people are going to start to tune out, and eventually people are going to get tired of it. I would argue that's kind of already happened already with The Last of Us Part 2, but I think we might actually... they've been teasing a Part 3, so we'll see how that pans out. You know, considering how badly Part 2 was received, I don't think Part 3 will do well.
Have you done shrooms? No, I wish. I want to try doing shrooms. Like, you see my entire recommended list. It's the fucking stick people talking about drugs and shit. Chains for real. I love that guy. He's so funny. And he's like talking about drugs and shit and trying shrooms and shit. I want to do storytime videos soon. Like, the moment The Last of Us show is done, I want to get into like some storytime videos. And, yeah.
Purely based on that metric. So, they're talking about The Last of Us Part 3. Like, assuming we get it.
No, but shrooms seem so fun. And then I also want to try LSD, but I don't know if that's that. I don't know if it's that good of an. I don't know if it's that good of an idea though. But yeah.
Like, I expect it'll probably put the franchise into the ground for good. I don't think there's really any way to recover from that unless.
I want to try DMT. I don't know what the fuck DMT is. No, but I'm gonna draw the line at like cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and like everything else past that. But like, I feel like shrooms are fine. Fucking LSD is fine. Molly is fine. And yeah, but that's where I'm gonna draw the line at. So
unless they reboot the entire thing, which I suppose is plausible.
yeah, don't do coke and heroin. Yeah, no shit.
But like, how exactly would you do that? Would
I'm
you
not gonna have a fucking brew arc from Euphoria.
have like, them trying to like save the world from zombies when I don't know. I personally feel like the
I only smoke weed that's for my anxiety. Yeah, I get that. DMT is a psychedelic. I don't know. The shit I want to try is whatever the fuck they were trying at the beginning of Euphoria episode 2. This shit. Where they're fucking in the tent and shit here it. And they're fucking like crying glitter and I don't know. I want to try that shit. I don't know what the fuck that was.
Last of Us were not
but
really a threat. I feel more threatened by like just like the lack of quality from these from this level design or like just
that was funny.
from the game critics. Like I don't care about the zombies. They're like the zombies are boring. They're uninspired. They're insipid. They're on
The Last of Us zombies are probably the most original zombies that I know of because they've got like the fungus shit on them. And they've got like different mechanics. Like the bloaters are cool. The clickers obviously. Like
a threat.
I did shrooms and cried for 3 hours. I got crossed like 4 weeks ago and I was like crying until like 6 in the morning. It was so
like,
funny.
It just comes off that way. Considering how people
No, but I don't know where the fuck my friends can get shrooms from. Because our plug, he just gives us weed. So
look and act in The Last of Us Part 2. It just feels like this is really the end of the world scenario. Really? 25 years of like the end of the world and we're having these kind of like character conflicts. It's absurd. It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah,
what are you grabbing your armpit for? He's like fucking combing his armpit hair or something.
I'm curious when people will start like acknowledging the problems with the TV series. That's kind of what I'm waiting on at this point. Like
I don't know what the problems with the TV series are. If anything, it's been doing things better than the game does. Aside from the Bill episode. The Bill episode is debatable, but like
I will go on record and say right now that I believe that like Angry Joe is being paid off to give positive coverage to this.
Why would they pay off someone that gave them like that was like completely shitting all over their second game? That they spent like what? How much did they spend on the second game? Like about the same, like $500,000 or something.
No,
I don't fucking know.
I don't think
500 million.
there's no way he's not aware of the problem.
I mean, it looked really expensive, which is kind of disappointing. God, you have to think that like that fucking Abby sex scene probably costs more than like most people's houses. That's depressing as shit.
The acting is not particularly phenomenal, I'm sure. Like,
Psy high is something different. I don't know what the fuck that is. But I was playing Hotline Miami High one time and I'm like, that was a fucking trip. That was awesome.
there's no way like what happens in episode 3 is appealing to him or his friends. There's no way that like this show is like a cut above like other things that are coming out. Like it just feels like like watching his reviews really makes it feel like he's reaching to like find some.
Do you like Beethoven? I mean, he's alright. I don't really listen to him like normally, but I mean, I don't dislike him.
Something to like about
It's an anime.
the series. It really does come off that way.
No, I need to find some games that. No, Hotline Miami is like my go-to play game to play while I'm high. That game is so fun to play high. I don't know what. I think it's just the colors, and like, I don't know. But
It doesn't come off as if he's genuinely enthusiastic at all. And I'm curious.
Hotline Miami 2 has to be even better, because it's like, it gets a lot more like crazy with its shit.
If like eventually we're gonna reach the point where like more and more people are going to start like acknowledging that like, yeah, the show is not good. And I don't know when that's going to happen, because it does feel like at the moment the only people who are paying attention to the fact that this show exists are shills. There are people who are actively trying to promote this show and like sell it to you. And I don't know if you should do that. My recommendation.
I just noticed he's wearing the pedophile jeans. How could you go out dressed like that? I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm gay and I care about style now. But it's like, he dresses like how my dad dressed me when I was in like 7th grade.
Honestly,
it's depressing.
As a content creator, don't subscribe to HBO Max. Like, don't subscribe to any of these subscription services, because they're just going to keep producing stuff like this. Like, because this exists, because like Velma exists, like, never take out an HBO Max subscription.
You can only support the shows by watching them. Because like, if a show bombs, they're not gonna release a second season. Like,
just buy what you want to watch on like Blu-ray or whatever, and
I just use 123 movies for like most of my shit. I just fucking go to 123 movies or like Soap Today and watch shit on that.
Just don't subscribe to Netflix. Don't do anything. There's no reason to. I think
Even though we have like HBO Max and Netflix and Disney and shit, like, I just use 123 movies for most of my shit. Like,
these subscription services are a big reason why so much like garbage content is being like pushed through to the masses, and I think like pushing back against it is essential, but I don't really see anybody else doing that. Like, I'm the only person I know who only has like an Amazon Prime account. I actually have a Crunchyroll account as well. But
of course you have a fucking Crunchyroll account. Oh my god.
There's not really woke content on Crunchyroll.
There's not really woke content on Crunchyroll. Because you're a fucking weeb. Look at this shit in your fucking one-piece shirt and your unframed Edelgard fucking... Oh my god.
From what I understand. I don't expect... The cracks are starting to show, I think.
The cracks are starting to show. Fucking Michael Does Life. He was like, the cracks are starting to show in Resident Evil 2 remake. This is because you guys kept going like, bro. I miss that guy.
Like,
I want to look at his
see
videos
more
after
that
this.
people are starting, like,
I've
pushing
not
back
seen
against, like,
that guy in a
The
while.
Last of Us as a brand. I don't think there's any real recovery after The Last of Us Part 2, and I think this show, the remake, being a remake of the original, was its one chance at like salvaging itself and trying to make itself like sell its storyline to a new audience.
And
like,
it's been doing really good. Like, episode 3 was kind of controversial, but like, I didn't really hear that much about the controversy. The only reason I heard about it was because I was like actively looking for it.
I think more and more that nobody's going to buy into this. I think anybody who watches this will just think it's a terrible zombie thing knockoff of like Logan or whatever. Like,
He's got the fucking hiccups.
not see this show in any way being successful.
I come bearing good news. The Last of Us TV show on HBO is good.
Did I watch this already?
Really good. Finally, after decades, we get a video game adaptation that's actually decent. Usually when a video game gets transferred into TV or films, it sucks.
I think I watched this already.
It was mid. The Halo TV show...
Yeah, okay. Anyways, what did we want to look at? Oh yeah, Michael Does Life. This guy was so good. Don't buy Hogwarts Legacy. He's got his hair dyed pink.
It's over, believe me, and it's so incredibly sad.
He's doing the fucking Trump impression. I love this man.
Harry Potter fans, Hogwarts Legacy is gonna be a total disaster. That I know, and believe me, that I can tell you. Internet required, and not only that, the NPCs in the open world are as wooden, as dull as a PlayStation 1 game. But you don't care, you don't clamor for quality, and believe me, that's because you were too busy going.
This Trump impression is so good. What the hell?
Believe me, and it's so incredible.
Believe me, and it shows. I don't know. I added more shit to my watch later list. There was I might have added it to my commentary ideas shit. But oh yeah, Geeks and Gamers. I saw this already, but
The Last of Us Episode 3 happened last night, and it's going exactly how you would expect a project with Neil Druckmann or Neil Cuckman involved. Now, there's a couple of different ways that I want to approach this, because Episode 3 in its own right, I thought was somewhat entertaining, but when you actually look at the people behind it and you look at the agenda that they're trying to push, then...
what are they trying to push? It has gay people. It isn't like they were looking at the... It isn't like fucking Nick Offerman looks like directly at the audience and goes, you gotta have to be gay or I'm gonna shoot you down with my shotgun. What the fuck?
Understand that this is not about just telling a...
What the fuck is up with Michael Does Life's hair? Good question. Good damn question, because I don't know either.
Story, telling a story that's going to benefit the overall story. This is about Neil Cuckman pushing the agenda that he couldn't push when he originally made The Last of Us, because it wasn't universally acceptable like it is now. And
What do you mean? They literally had the fucking... This I might actually do, because this is kind of bad. And this is like a new argument too. Because he's going like, oh yeah, in 2013, gay people weren't universally acceptable. Like, bitch, they had the fucking Ellie and Riley kiss in like, what, the DLC that came out... When did the DLC come out? Like 6 months later? 5-6 months later? It came out in like early 2020. I mean, 2014, I think? February 14, 2014. Yeah. So, what, that was like 8 months later? Did time really change in 8 months? To the fucking, oh yeah, now we can have a gay kiss or whatever. Like, what?
back then, he left subtle hints as
No, they had the fucking Ellie and Riley kiss and left behind.
the relationship between Bill and Frank, because he couldn't go full-blown Brokeback Mountain like he did in this episode. But
They did it in... oh my god,
then
this
you
is
have
so
to ask
bad.
yourself, why did he do it in this episode, and how did this episode benefit the overall story? So again, there's two different ways to look at this. Did I think that they did a good job telling the story in this episode? Sure. It was fine. I mean, for an isolated individual story, that's fine. But why are you telling and using an entire episode to tell this story about two gay characters? Would this
Because it mirrors Joel and Ellie's story of how they can be happy too if they fucking find love again.
episode have made any sense if this was about two straight characters that had nothing to do with the overall story? It
Yeah. It would have, because they fucking love each other and that's the point.
wouldn't have been told.
If Bill was straight, I would not give a shit. Like,
Because this was done so Neil Cuckman and Naughty Dog can push their bullshit agenda.
what agenda are they pushing? Oh, they're pushing their fake agenda that gay people exist. Ooh, I'm a gay. It's fucking embarrassing.
I know that a lot of people that are going to see me reacting to this and see the headline are going to say, oh, Jeremy's just intimidated by gay characters, yada yada.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past you, honestly, from how like the first 2 minutes of this video have been, where they're like, "Oh, he was too scared to put in gay people in the game, but now that it's 2022, he's got his complete freedom." Or 2023, shit. And but like 8 months later, after the first game came out, not even 8 months. It was like, no, was it 8 months? Yeah, it was 8 months. 8 months later, after the first game came out, they're putting out gay couple.
So stupid because these people don't have a working brain because they think that
They made one of their main characters gay in the first game. 8 months later, I don't think they were too scared to fucking push gay people in this shit.
everything is something to be fake offended over. Every single thing that somebody has, every opinion, whatever. But now you see the mainstream using this.
We're not offended over it. It's just funny. Like, people in the comments section on the Synthetic Man video were like, "Oh, you're just offended that he was saying gay people or people don't want to see gay people." No, I'm not offended over this shit. It's just funny to me that like people are losing their shit so much over fucking people losing gay people having sex in their show or whatever. That
Episode. And now this is a victory for all gamers, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Bill and Frank being hinted at.
Okay, I will admit the people hyping the episode up like it's the fucking second coming of Christ, like how they did with part 2, that's also really embarrassing. Because this episode was not perfect.
Or Bill
It definitely had some fucking issues, and it was probably the worst one that came out. Like, I said that completely up front in my video on this shit. Like, the first game was, I mean, the third episode is probably the worst one of the series so far. It might be the worst one overall.
as being a gay character in the original Last of Us. That didn't save lives. But this episode, this is the most important episode in the history of humanity.
He doesn't even show, does he even show the article? I don't think he does.
NBC News right here. HBO's The Last of Us adaptation is a milestone for LGBTQ gamers. Where's the IA and the plus? They didn't get involved in this one. This wasn't a milestone for them. LGBTQ gamers who spoke with NBC News said the third episode of the series, focusing on queer romance, gave them hope for the future of video games. This is nonsense. Now this is why this episode existed. So again,
Why are you getting pissed over some random fucking NBC article? Oh my god.
you can look at this episode and think it was fine and entertaining.
Might I recommend a game? Don't know, it just came to mind. Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
And I do appreciate like certain perspectives you get from the apocalypse and that feel or whatever. But when you look at why did this episode actually happen, it happened so that Neil Cuckman can push his bullshit. That's all this happened for. Because again, if you take that story, this story of The Last of Us, and you have this random thing that was hinted at in the original Last of Us, a relationship between a man and a woman, would you have gotten a full episode out of that?
I mean, probably. Okay. No, they wouldn't, because they're fucking obsessed with, like, gay people and shit, and they want to have, like, they want to have people write articles about it and shit. But, like, I don't know. Like, I'll admit they're definitely, like, kind of fucking left-leaning, I guess. Sort of. But, like, that doesn't mean they made the fucking episode woke or something just because it has fucking gay people in it. Final Fantasy 14, it's an MMO, so it takes a lot of time to get into, but the story is so good, and honestly, I recommend it just for that alone. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't complement the story at all. That's why so many people are
Yes, it does complement the story, because again, they were fucking... Oh my god. Dude, I'm not even going to fucking go into this again, because I already went on like I had like 3 separate moments where I explained this shit down for like the people in the back.
This because Neil Cuckman continuing to push his bullshit agenda. Now, it gets better for The Last of Us because now there are hints. I guess there's reports that we're going to get The Last of Us Season 2. The Last of Us Season 2 will cover the events of The Last of Us Part 2. So that means we're going to get Big Abby Pump is your hookup, holla if you hear me. And that means that Joel, Pedro Pascal, I guess is going to get a golf club to the face. I really hope they cast Scott Steiner. I've seen some people go, "Oh, all the bigots are going to be upset now because they're actually adapting the game." No, I'm actually happy about this. I really, really hope that they cast Scott Steiner in this role as Abby, and I would.
Who the
love
fuck
to
is
see
Scott Steiner?
Just put a golf club right to Pedro Pascal's Joel's head. That would be fantastic, because I don't have a vested interest in this other than to tell you exactly what I think. I watched the first episode and I liked it, and I made a video and I point blank said, hey, I was wrong based on this first episode. The second episode, people liked the second episode. And now here we are with the third episode. I don't know what the overall consensus is. I think generally speaking, if you're actually just looking at this episode as an individual story, I think it's fine. But when you're looking at the bigger picture as to why did this even happen, then it's
To have a foil for not a foil, but like an example for Joel. Just like that's like saying, oh, why the fuck did Bill show up in the game? Because he was a foil for Joel. And it's like,
to see that this was Neil Cuckman.
and it's like, oh, why did it's like at that point, why the fuck does anybody else except for Joel and Ellie show up in the game? Like what? Why are we focusing on these two black people that are fucking that have like nothing to do with Joel and Ellie's story? Yes, they. This guy's just fucking dumb. Oh my god.
Back then, because it's not about breaking down barriers. It's not about giving proper representation. It's about these weirdos were never brave enough to do it when it wasn't unpopular, but now that it's trendy.
Yes, they were, because they did it 8 months later. 8 months is not a lot of time.
Now they're gonna jump on the bandwagon because we're dealing with cowards. People like Naughty Dog and Neil Druckmann are cowards. So we'll see how this all plays out moving forward, but you're gonna see more articles like this, and this is the bigger problem with it. And this is
Did he even read the article? I don't think he did. He just read like the opening headline.
why it happened.
What does the article even say? Wait, I want to finish
So
this.
that agenda can be pushed, and then articles from the mainstream can happen like this, and then you can call
Yeah, they just did it for a marketing thing. Do you know how many shit? Do you know how much worse shit people do for marketing?
everyone a bigot.
You know all the fucking Disney cover-up posters that they've done for like Black Panther, where they covered his face on the poster. They shrunk down Finn in the Star Wars poster.
It has any criticism
Like,
whatsoever.
that's actually being woke. This is just like, I don't know.
You guys have a great day. Thank you very much.
This is just having gay people exist, and it's just here. Right. What is the article called? The Last of Us adaptation. What do they even say in this? For some LGBT shit. Don't want to turn off my ad block. Continue to make. Okay. For some LGBTQ gamers, the first exposure to a queer character in a video game was the condemningly Bill in the 2013 blockbuster hit The Last of Us. On a Sunday a decade later, those gamers are in awe as Bill's story, a romance with his partner Frank, became the focal point in episode 3 of HBO's wildly popular adaptation of the game. It was so gorgeous that I was so not expecting it, said Darian Lausen, 41, a video game consultant who was gay. Obviously, I played the games religiously, and I know there's gay characters in there, but I was not expecting an 80 minutes here-worthy piece of art. Queer gamers who tuned in felt like a watershed moment for LGBTQ representation in games. I mean, I thought it was cool, but like I just thought it was like any other like story. Like there have been gay stories that have been presented way better. Like Young Royals and Heartstopper. Those are like way better LGBTQ stories. So Euphoria is also a way better LGBT story. Bill's story, who while first for some is one queer story, is just one queer storyline in an industry where LGBTQ narratives are becoming more prominent. And examples of queer characters include transgender Ronins, Tell Me Why, and Dorian Pavis in Dragon Age Inquisition. Was Dragon Age Inquisition good? I don't even remember that. I don't know if that was like sponsored by people and shit, but I don't know. Anyways, Queer thing games have been dated as far back as 1992's gameplay, according to LGBT media advocacy stamp gland. Still, it has taken them decades to. Okay, I'm just skipping all this shit. Pilots off 4.7 million. Shit about Glad. Yeah, this is just a fucking review of the episode. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is so good because we've got gay people in it. And it's like, who cares? Just an element of games, all these are lesbian, love, transgender, and Bill, by Nick Offerman during his mission, Bill mentions that he had a partner. HBO, it's just comparing the... It's just telling that people felt represented in the episode. And that it was sad. It's a fucking review and, like, talking about the response from, like, queer people. Like, what? I don't fucking know.
Checking out this video, and we will talk.
Okay, what does Ben Shapiro say? Because I still want to see the Ben Shapiro video. This is 13 minutes. I don't want to go through all of this stuff.
Okay, time for a thing that I hate. Okay, so we are going to steer into some dicey waters here. I'm about to criticize an episode of the TV show The Last of Us. So,
what is he wearing? Is that one of the...
right up front, HBO's...
Oh, it's one of the religion hats or something. I don't know what the fuck that is.
The one that stars Pedro Pascal, and it's really well produced, written by Craig Mazin. He's a super talented guy. He's the one who is behind Chernobyl. Okay, so first the things about this series that are good. And again, preface, I've never played the game. So don't care about the game. Don't care about how true it is to the game. There are lots of gamers out there. You want to watch their videos on the correlation between the game and the show. That's fine. I'm just watching it as a piece of pure TV entertainment. Okay, I'm coming from... I don't care what's canon. I don't care what's not canon. Just coming at it from the view of a TV viewer, so I'm just going to say that right up front.
Okay.
That is not my particular purview. I don't play video games because I'm not a child.
Ben Shapiro is Jewish, to my knowledge. I don't even know that.
I know. I'm just joking. Lots of good people play video games. Okay. In any case, including Andrew Clavin, who's a mediocre person. Anyway.
I don't even know who the fuck Andrew Clavin is.
The Last of Us is for those who haven't seen it, it is a zombie show. Okay, it's a show about a zombie apocalypse that essentially arises because fungi go viral, essentially, and take over people's brains and turn them into zombies. That is the premise of the show. And it's really well produced, and it's beautifully shot, and it's really well scripted, and all the rest. So the first two episodes are about Pedro Pascal. Again, some of this is sort of hackneyed trope, but he is introduced to the other main character, who is a young girl. The young girl is, for some reason, immune to the zombie virus. And so the question is, can he get her to a place where presumably they are going to try to manufacture a cure from her? Right? That's where the show is going, I would assume, because any other place doesn't make any sense. So it is this character Joel and this character Ellie, and they are navigating the zombie apocalypse. And then we get to, so that's the first couple episodes, and they're good, they're really compelling. Again, really well made, really well written. And then we get to episode 3, and this, according to the media, is the single greatest episode of television that has ever been.
It's really overrated, I'm not gonna lie.
On episode 3, this is the most important thing that has ever happened in the history of television.
Yeah, no, they're being hyperbolic for views.
Just made an early claim.
That's what people do.
Episodes of 2023. The Last of Us viewership soars 12% to a new series high with heartbreaking episode 3. It's historic. It's important. Okay, guys, it's historic and important. Now, why is it historic and important? It's historic and important because it's about...
His eyebrows are really big.
Hey, Josh,
and he has, like, elf ears.
Josh.
I'll be back in a second, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back.
That's why. So the essential plot of this episode, which is the problem with this episode, and again, you want to make Brokeback Zombie Farm or whatever, fine. But the problem with this episode is that it absolutely does not advance the plot in any way and actually has no consequences.
Yes, it does. Oh my god. The whole Tess was like telling him to go to like fucking Bill and Frank's for them to take Ellie across the country instead of Joel doing it. And then they were dead. So now Joel has to take her further to Tommy's. Jesus Christ.
So the entire plot of the episode is...
Then they get the car, and then it's also, their entire story is a parallel to Joel and Ellie's story.
that Ron Swanson, Nick Offerman, but he actually plays Ron Swanson, but Ron Swanson who likes to nail dudes. So Ron Swanson, a libertarian who hates the government and lives in his basement and is a prepper, but also is gay. Ron Swanson, during the zombie apocalypse, he's having himself a grand old time. For some reason, his town is completely not hit by any of the zombies at all. It's like completely...
No, it just got evacuated, and they explained this. It got evacuated, and they killed all the people. Oh my god.
Alone. And so he goes out and gets all these resources, and then he builds a nice fence around his place, and he sets up all of these booby traps, so if anybody shows up, whether they're raiders, whether they're zombies, they're gonna get killed. And then, somehow, another dude ends up, like, falling into one of his traps. And they meet, and they bang. And they end up becoming a couple. Okay, so, you can see it here, right? There's gay Ron Swanson. And it's complete with, like, sex scenes and the whole thing. And the entire episode
just
has
if you can't fucking
no
skip
zombies,
them. Yes,
no
it
real
does.
threat. And it is about two gay dudes who meet and have a relationship in which one grows strawberries for the other, and then they die, but not being killed by zombies or under threat. One dies, he gets cancer, and he decides to...
Does he have cancer? I don't think he does. They never, like, specified. They said it was, like, some I'm pretty sure they said it was, like, some disease that he had in the, before, like, the outbreak happened or something, or before he met Bill.
Essentially euthanasia himself, and gay Ron Swanson decides that he is also going to commit suicide at the same time because Romeo and Juliet, or Romeo and Romeo in this particular case. Get to more on that in just 1 second. First, speaking of rough financial situations, a lot of people have had to take out credit cards because obviously the bills are racking up. The problem is, you let
is
those
this some
credit card bills
sponsorship?
sit, and you get those high interest rates too. Almost 20, 50, 30, so
Holy shit, that was a long ass sponsor.
Blown out their institutional credibility. That actually includes things all the way down to your internet service provider. While they're very often suppressing, it's important to have a VPN market.
Shut up.
VPN produced.
That was like 3 minutes of a fucking sponsor, Jesus Christ.
Here's the problem with Brokeback Zombie Farm. One, it's a zombie show. There are no zombies in this entire episode. Like, none. I understand simplistic critique, but there are no zombies in a
And
zombie.
Last of Us was never really about the zombies. It was about the people living in the world and, like, how people change. It's The Last of Us, not The Last of the Zombies or whatever the fuck. If you want a fucking... Imagine someone gets so offended by sex scenes, then they watch seasons 1 through 3 of Game of Thrones, they would have a colossal heart attack. I need to watch Game of Thrones. I hear such good things about the, like, early seasons of that show.
It literally has nothing to do with the plot of the show. This is a show where...
I'm not even going to break this down. I'm just going to save this for a video if I don't know anything about, like...
Without a zombie apocalypse. It just would have been a Showtime romance between two middle-aged gay dudes who get older, one dies of cancer and the other assisted suicides himself. That would have been the entire... It would not have changed one iota of the show. It is completely irrelevant to the story. And one of the reasons that it is completely irrelevant to the story is because there are no stakes. And the reason that there are no stakes is because, again, we are in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. When you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, one of two issues has to come into play. One, the threat of the zombies. Or two, the threat to humanity more broadly. So, if you're talking about the threat to humanity more broadly during the zombie apocalypse, what you're talking about is underpopulation, right? You're talking about there are no people. The zombies are going to take over. Humanity is going to be extinct. That is the entire threat in a zombie apocalypse. Correct? Or in an alien invasion movie. Or in any other sort of species-level extinction event movie, like War of the Worlds. The question is, how do human beings repopulate? How do they survive? And how do they become successful once again? If you're going to censor an episode like that, what you need to do is you need to have an episode about people who can have babies. Again, there are only two issues in a zombie apocalypse. You could have this whole thing, but the whole thing is these two dudes in love, but they're fighting off zombies. But they never fight off the zombies. It's not an issue. So, irrelevant.
That's another thing. Why would you want to have kids in a fucking zombie apocalypse? It's the same shit with, like, the dumb bitch from Quiet Place, who is a fucking kid in an alien apocalypse where the fucking, where you can't talk. And you decide to have a fucking kid. That movie was so shit. But I love it. It's so fun to watch, like, fucked up.
Or you could have them somehow interact with the main characters. They never do. They interact with the main characters for like 30 seconds. They are both dead by the time the main characters arrive to pick up guns. So this entire episode is a sidestep. It has nothing to do with anything. Ellie and Joel could have just stopped by, found the house, picked up guns, and gone on their merry way, and it would have taken 10 seconds. Instead, you get an entire...
Yeah, and they all made the same comparison, but they could have done that with Sarah and just had Tommy bring it up in, like, the 6th episode, but they didn't because it made it more impactful. It's like...
hour-long digression to do, as I say again, La Caja Falls, or whatever this is. Okay, so... That's
the one thing about this video. I'm worried about making it because I don't want to, like, repeat the same shit I said in the last video. But if I don't have anything to make by tomorrow, I'm just going to do this. Because I need to keep my schedule consistent.
It's irrelevant. Beyond it being irrelevant, it has no stakes. So, you want to have, like, an interesting conversation about love during the apocalypse? The big issue of love during the apocalypse is, what if you have a baby? What happens if you have a baby? Or should having babies be the purpose here? So let's take another example of a show that did this correctly. So Battlestar Galactica had an episode early on, I think it was season 2, in which one of the...
I mean, they do that in... Don't they do that in part 2? But it isn't really done that well. Yeah, this is better than... They did that in part 2, and part 2 was like... That was like one of the main issues with part 2. Because it was dumb as fuck.
The question was underpopulation, right? The fleet is depopulating. And so the question becomes, what do you do about abortion? So President Roslyn, who is a lefty, she decides that she's going to outlaw abortion because if you want humanity to survive, then it turns out that individual autonomy over your body is significantly less important than...
Ooh, parallels to Roe v. Wade. Ah, there's abortion. It is against Christianity.
Actually repopulating humanity. So here's
You're gonna burn
Rosalind
in
announcing
hell.
that she's outlawing abortion, right? Because again, the stakes are whether humanity survives. It is not whether two individuals fall in love in the middle of a farm, not threatened by anyone, which is the story of this particular episode.
Since assuming the presidency, I've made it my mission to maintain the rights and freedoms we so enjoyed prior to the attack. One of these rights has now come into direct conflict with the survival of the species. And I find myself forced to make a very difficult decision. The issue is stark. The fact is that if this civilization is to survive, we must repopulate this fleet. Therefore, I'm issuing an executive order. From this day forward, anyone seeking to interfere with the birth of a child,
whether it be the mother or a medical practitioner, shall be subject to criminal penalty.
Okay, so, this is like an actual issue. What do you do during an apocalypse? Do you actually try to preserve humanity or not? Two gay dudes falling in love and then dying of old age is not...
Yeah, the pregnancies in part 2 were handled really poorly. Yeah, what the hell would what the hell would they do if someone was pregnant? Like, that isn't interesting. What they did with that was kind of interesting. But it's like...
relevant to that particular...
And then he's got the fucking cup. Leftist tears. Oh my god.
I can say, well, that's not what they wanted to cover on the show. That's not what they were interested in covering on the show. The truth is, it's a much more compelling storyline. I mean, that's the entire plot line of A Quiet Place, right? You have an alien invasion. What do you do?
Then he's got a socks hat in the background. That I feel like is truly the most tragic part about this video.
Do you continue to have babies in view of the fact that there's a threat to the children, in view of the fact they're going to have to live difficult and rough lives and all the rest of it, right? But you can say, I see the argument. Okay, well, that's not what they wanted to take on in episode 3. So I have a question. What were they seeking to take on in episode 3?
A
What was the major topic that
parallel
they were
for love. How many times do people fucking miss this shit?
seeking to take on? People falling in love during the apocalypse? What are the stakes? We don't know anything.
Yes, because the entire message of The Last of Us is that people are all we have. So it's like, oh my
These
god.
characters, nor are we going to care about them beyond this particular episode. Which means that it's basically just a sidetrack. It's a throwaway episode. But it's so important because it has gay people, you see. It's so important. And, you know, the guy who created the video game, of course, is a big lefty. In Season 2, apparently, if it mirrors the video games, from what I've been told, it gets very trans and very lesbian and all the rest of it.
It has a trans character and or not even two lesbian characters, one lesbian. Oh no, they're taking over our game.
And that's their prerogative. They're the creators of the show. But all of the talk about how this was like an excellent episode of TV that was wrapped into a broader show is not true.
It was solid, it just wasn't, like, perfect.
And pretending that it is ignoring...
And people... It is so easy to critique this episode. This is my problem with these people. They critique genuinely flawed shit, but in the worst way possible. And it's just so fucking depressing to watch. Like... Honestly, if humanity was going extinct, I could easily see any politician argue that abortion needed to be outlawed to inflate the population of humanity. Part 2 has one lesbian, one trans character, and one bisexual character. Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Kind of the dynamics of the show. So there's my critique of The Last of Us Episode 3. I know, I'm not allowed to say that I didn't like it. You have to say you loved it. And you particularly loved the most, like, the most graphic parts of it. Those are the parts you love the most, right? I mean, because if you don't say that, it means you're a homophobe or something.
No, it's just your arguments are, like, kind of homophobic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, oh, they should be focusing on a straight relationship because they need to have babies or something. And it's like, they do that in part 2. Just shut the fuck up. And, like, if you do research, you would know that.
All I'm saying is that nobody actually paid to see the movie Bros. And when you go to see The Last of Us, what you generally want to see is a zombie apocalypse TV show, not two gay dudes dating while listening to Linda Ronstadt and then dying of old age after growing strawberries. I think that...
I don't even need a break. He's just making the same argument Synthetic Man made.
And frankly, I think everybody...
He kind of looks like Synthetic Man, too. He looks like a slightly more attractive version of Synthetic... He looks like a less incel version of Synthetic Man.
Who's like, wow, I was super into this. Yeah, I think some of you are lying. I think some of you are in it. Some of you were kind of lying. Alrighty, guys. The rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We will be getting into the Mailbag Plus.
That
Dennis
was
Prager's
fucking shit. What pissed me off was that a guy had a setter... Yeah, he fends off raiders with the hunting rifle in the middle of the street. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And he never brings that up. There are so many plot holes in that episode. It is so easy to critique it. And, like, he ends up in the town due to hiding in his cellar. I'm the same, a lot of people not in the wokeness being pushed. 738, there's actually a third thread. Zombie apocalypse stories, thread of lawless bands raiders. Honestly, the best scenes were built as the gas pump and the fastest 19-gallon good memories. Yeah, fuck Joe Biden. Joe Biden's been raising the gas prices. Oh my god. Is there anything else you guys want me to watch? I don't know what else there is to watch. Because I'm kind of hungry and I want to stop, but... Yeah, that might be my next video, because I can't find anything else. Unless there's, like... Oh yeah, there is this thing. I almost did a video on that.
So there's this article that I found with a hilarious talking point. The article is headlined, Forespoken is a fun game.
I could do that. But I haven't played Forespoken, so it's like... I don't know. If you watch EFAP, I recommend the video. I would recommend the episode on I saw that already. I watch EFAP sometime. I would sell my soul to fix Ben Shapiro's voice. Yeah. How long have I been streaming for? Like 2 hours? Okay. Yeah, I think we're just gonna end it here. Because I am tired. I don't want to go to bed, but I'm hungry. And I don't want to... Yeah. So, it was fun tonight. We'll look at some other shit. Maybe tomorrow or maybe I don't fucking know. Whatever. Yeah.